Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel. Oh my God, it's so loud. Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Casey and I'm the designer behind the indie sewing pattern company, Pattern Scout. Today I'm going to be organizing and cleaning my sewing room. We have been in this apartment for about a month and a half, a little over a month and a half, and I haven't sewn a stitch of clothing since we moved in because this room has been basically non-functional, which is kind of a problem because I sew for a living. My whole business is based on sewing clothing. I need to be able to get in here and sew some stuff. I've also got a lot of projects lined up that I'm really excited to get started on, but it's just been impossible to work in this room because it is just a total disaster in here. When we moved in, I wasn't very organized about how I was putting things into the space. I did kind of put the furniture where I thought I might want it, but there are still a few things I want to rearrange to make this space a little bit more functional and work better with the type of activities I'm going to be doing in here, like sewing and filming, tutorials, that type of thing. So I need to kind of keep those things in mind when I'm organizing this room. This wall behind me, I've already got a space set up for taking photographs. I've got a nice white backdrop that I've already set up. So I like where that is and I like where my sewing table is, but I really want to pare down the amount of stuff that I have in here. I also have a lot of craft supplies and fabric and fabric scraps that I've had a really hard time getting rid of. I'm sure you can relate. I feel really guilty getting rid of anything that I think I might be able to make something out of eventually. But inevitably this ends with me having just a bunch of stuff that I tote around from place to place with me and never end up using. And there's nothing that will make you reevaluate all of the crap you have, like moving into a third floor walk-up apartment. So I need to get rid of some things. My plan is to keep most of my stuff packed up in the boxes that I put them in when we moved out of our last place. And if I haven't used that stuff within 6 months to a year, I'm planning to get rid of it. I'll either donate them or find some responsible way to dispose of the items. This room is connected to the master bath, and that is where I get ready every day. And I also sew most of my clothing, so I'm doing a lot of changing in and out of my wardrobe in this room, so this will also kind of be my closet. So my first step is going to be getting all of my clothing organized. Right now, all of my clothing is piled on my sewing table, and I need to get everything that I'm gonna be hanging up into this closet, and I need to also clean out the closet and get all of the extra boxes out of there and up into our storage loft, because I really wanna keep the amount of stuff in my studio as minimal as possible, just to kind of help with the overall workflow. Okay, I think I'm ready. Let's do this. So since this room was such a mess and everything was so disorganized, I had to move clothing into the closet, but also move boxes and supplies and things that I didn't think that I would need out of the room at the same time. So I was trying to work quickly here and not think too much about it and get as many things up into our storage loft as I could and save those things for going through later or donating to a thrift store or getting rid of later. The next day, I started reorganizing some of my furniture, and this shelf is where I keep most of my fabric and some of my sewing supplies, and I was having a really hard time deciding where to put this, so I moved it around quite a lot actually. At this point, my husband came in for project supervision and comic relief, and I let him know he was on camera.
I will show that up. I'll scare you.
All right.
Oh, I just don't know if I want to put that there. So I decided to move the shelf behind my table here. And actually, the tabletop aligns perfectly with the second shelf there. So I'm going to see how I like that. I'm going to live with it for a little bit. I think once I get my fabric on here and kind of do a little styling over here, I think it's going to look really nice. It also frees up this corner here for my ironing board. I've organized my desk a little bit more. Conflicted about what to do with the blinds and curtain situation. I'm gonna work on that. I might actually end up lowering this desk. Right now it's a standing height desk, which I really like, but I think it'll make it easier to access these windows and get them up and down because the windows really stick. They're really hard to get up and down. I've got my dress form and this old sewing machine. This is an old Singer sewing machine, or Kenmore, sorry. I'm eventually gonna get rid of this, I think, or put it somewhere else. I'll probably leave the dress form over here, but I want to keep this little corner pretty minimal. Got my photography set up. I've got a stool here for doing some seated poses. Got my closet, pretty much all the things in there that I want to have in there. This is all the fabric I need to organize. Got some patterns and books and things in here. And then this is just some random stuff that needs to be organized. I've got a bunch of jackets in this box down here, coats that I've made. So yeah, we're making progress. I also cleaned off this shelf. I got a bunch of stuff off of here and put things away. I've got mostly tools and things on the bottom here, and my shredder. This is going to kind of be my office zone. I'm not sure what I'm going to put on this shelf right here yet. I may just leave it blank for the time being. We'll see. Once I had all of my furniture in place, I started working on these smaller organization tasks. I put this paper storage system up on my shelf with zip ties. Then I started organizing my paper patterns. So I always fold my paper patterns and put them in a manila envelope with the pattern name on the front. And then I use these baskets that I found at TJ Maxx Home Goods for all of the pattern storage. And I think it looks really nice, and I can keep them out in the open where I can get to them really easily. And I try to have a lot of little boxes like this that are attractive that I can keep out in the open for all of my smaller supplies. When I have medium-sized cuts of fabric or fabric remnants, I like to fold them and wrap them around pieces of cardboard like this. It helps me keep the fabric very organized. I can just pin it to the cardboard. It doesn't come unfolded when I'm looking for fabric, and it keeps everything looking very nice and neat. It kind of looks like a little mini fabric shop. I decided to take a break from organizing and go find a new sewing chair. So I went back to Home Goods and I found this little swivel chair. It's really cute and kind of modern for about $80. And I did check prices online, and this was the best price that I found for one of these. So I think this will be perfect. I also stopped off at Home Depot to pick out a plant for my sewing room. I thought it might add a little bit of extra life and be kind of nice to have some greenery in the space. So I found this pothos plant. This is a really easy care plant. I also picked up some command strips because I needed to hang a few things on the wall and I wanted it to be renter friendly. Back at the apartment, I decided to just hang curtains over these vertical blinds that are already installed in the apartment. I didn't want to fool with taking these down and having to put up new hardware, so I'm using a shower curtain rod. It's just a tension rod that can be put up without hardware, and I can kind of cover up those blinds without having to reinstall new hardware. I also took down this curtain rod that the previous tenant left behind. They had a bunch of lights wrapped around them, and I didn't want to take them off, and I knew I wasn't going to hang a curtain there anyway, so I just stored that for later and left the hardware up. I put my desk back in front of this window and just kind of pulled it forward a little bit so that I could access the windows. But I have to tell you, these things are a pain in the butt to get down because they stick so bad. So I have to kind of get under here like a little troll and hang on them to get them to come down. But I probably won't keep them open that much anyway, so I'm just kind of going with it. I needed some extra lighting over my ironing board. It's a really dark corner over here, so I'm using an I hook and an S hook to hang a string light with a paper lantern attached to it. And then I'm just bringing that cord over to the bracket from the previous curtain rod to kind of help with cord management there. And this provides a really nice bright light over my ironing board and part of my sewing table. With all of the bigger projects in this room out of the way, I was ready to start working on finishing touches. In addition to my little mini fabric bolts, I'll also store some of my larger cuts of fabric or bulkier fabrics or fabrics that I don't really want to stick pins through. I'll just roll them up and stack them on top of each other, and they're easy to see and easy to get to. Over the years, I've made several of these little rope bowls. They're very cute, and I use them a lot in my studio for keeping smaller items organized and out in the open. I used Velcro command strips on the back of my mirror to hang this on the wall. This is a very lightweight mirror. This is like maybe a $10 mirror I picked up at Walmart or someplace like that. This particular type of command strip can hold up to 16 pounds, and I used several of them, so I don't think this mirror is going anywhere. And I just kind of eyeballed it. I probably should have used a level, but it actually went okay. So I just pressed that to the wall and it was ready to go. I found some command hooks in my craft stash, and I decided to use these to hang my iron rack on the side of my shelf here. I really didn't want to have to screw into the wall for this, so this is kind of a quick fix. It's not super sturdy, it's a little wobbly, but as long as I'm a little bit gentle with it, I think it'll be okay.
and I definitely cannot hang anything else on it because it gets off center. So I'm just gonna put my little tiny iron on top of the shelf here. And this project is complete. It is time for the reveal. As a reminder, here is what this space looked like before, a total disaster. And here is how it looks now.
Won't you stay? I got plans for you. Don't be late. Come away with me for the day. They can say what they want, just let them hate. Oh, it's just you and me. Maybe this is how it's supposed to be. This love is taking over me. I've been around the world, but never found a girl like you. And I might just be the one for you. And I can't be too far away from you. And don't make me have to search for your love, for your love. Upside down, you got me inside out, inside out. You got me right where you want me. It's what I want, me alright. Yeah, it's alright.
Thank you so much for watching this video and coming along with me on this cleaning and organizing journey. I love it in here. I think it turned out really beautiful. I just kept walking by the space yesterday after I finished organizing everything and filming all of my little final shots, and I couldn't stop looking at it. I was so happy with how it turned out. Probably doing this for YouTube made me a lot more thoughtful about how I laid everything out. I wanted to make it very intentional, and I just wanted to make it a very zen space that I'm going to enjoy spending a lot of time in. I'm gonna do my best to keep it very clean and simple and as minimal as possible, because right now the vibe in here is just exactly how I want it to feel. And now I can finally get in here and sew some stuff. I've got some plans for things I want to sew. I've got fabric that needs to be washed and prepped. I also have another big project that's not a clothing sewing project, but it is gonna have some sewing and it's gonna be a big project. I will be sharing that soon, so stay tuned for that. I'm just glad that I have this space now so I can actually move forward on all these projects that I've been brainstorming on for so long. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. That way you'll be notified when I release new videos in the future. You can also leave me a comment below, let me know what you thought about the video, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see from me. This video is actually something I had been kind of thinking of doing, but a comment from a viewer kind of gave me a nudge to finally do it. So I just want to thank you for asking to see this, because it definitely helped me create a space that I'm really just in love with right now. Okay, I think that is all I have for you today. I will see you in the next video. Bye.